Hi all, good evening. So today we are going to discuss LinkedIn question which I have posted, and this is the question. Okay. I will narrate you just a minute. Let me stop sharing and let me show you the question once. Yeah, let me share my screen again. Hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, Tanvir.
Okay. So we are going to discuss about this question. I have posted, I think, 6 days back. So the question is like you have to write a query to retrieve the list of premium customers. So actually, in certain business, so they filter out the premium customers. So they used to keep a track on them. They should not want to lose those customers. Okay, like especially in the banking sector as well. So if they will check that, okay, you have a good amount of money in your bank account, so they will keep a track on you. Track on you, it means they will give you some offers and maybe some personal loans. So the fixed deposit offers is specific to you. Okay, I'm getting background noise. Unmuted everyone. If you have any question, you can unmute and you can ask. So that is what I have just tried to create a prototype of that scenario. Okay. So a long back when I was working for a financial institution, so there we have this type of requirement from the client to filter or the premium customers. Okay. In different business, so they use different context for it. So just I have used the premium word here. So they are the premium customers. Now, here the definition of premium customers are defined as those customers whose total transaction amount, okay, the total transaction amount on a given day exceeds the average transaction amount for that same day. I mean, this is the data, okay? So you have customer ID, transaction amount, transaction date. So here, to keep the data simple, I have just taken two dates. So this is for 11th December 2024. And the second data is for 15 December 2024. First of all, let's try to understand what is the question, because based on the response, what I have seen on the LinkedIn solution posted by a few folks, so it seems they have not understood what is the question. Okay, so that's why I always strongly recommend when you're appearing for an interview, at least to spend some 20-30 seconds, or maybe if the question is a bit more complicated, around 1 minute or 2 minutes to understand the question. Still, the question is not clear. You have all the rights to ask to the interviewer, okay, for clarity. So they will feel that okay, it's good if you're asking questions. Okay, it's not a bad thing. So here the question is to keep the data simple, I have taken two dates, 11 December and 15 December. So now if you see 11 December, so I have the transactions of customer ID 1, 2, and this three. So it's possible that a particular customer can do uh, two or more transactions on a particular day, right? Suppose I purchase something today on Amazon in the morning, and then later point of time, I realize that I have to buy something else. So Amazon gives that, or any other e-commerce site, they have this provision. Okay, you can do any number of transactions on a particular day, right? So if I will ask you this customer ID 3, what is the total value of transaction he has done on 11th December? So you will answer 500 plus 550, right? So it means net, this customer ID 1, he has done a transaction of 1050 on 11th December, right? And customer ID 2 has done a transaction of 900. Customer ID 1 has done a transaction of 600. Okay. Are you getting some background noise from mind? Or is it fine? Hello, can you hear me?
It is fine, Tanvir.
Okay, fine. Let me know if the voice is breaking or you're getting any background noise. Okay. So customer ID 123, customer ID 1 has a total transaction of 600, 2 has a total transaction of 900, 3 has a total transaction of 1050. Okay. So then what you have to do, you have to find the average of this for 11th December. So for the 11th December average is 850. Okay. So average is 850. All right. Fine. So average is 850 here. So if you will see this average is 850, right? But if you see each and every transaction, then the average will change. So based on this, the average is 637.5, right? So we have to consider this average, not this average. So here the average is 637.5, correct? Because see, that is a formula of average in mathematics, no? The sum of all the observations divided by total number of observations, right? So here the average will be 637.5. Now, is this 600 greater than this 637.5? No. So this is not a premium customer. Okay. Now, if you will check the next one, 900. Is this 900 greater than 637.5? Yes. So, so this customer ID 2 is a premium customer for us. What about this customer ID 3? The total transaction amount is 1050. Is this greater than this average 637.5? So yes. So this is also a premium customer. So on 11th December 2024, we have two premium customers, 2 and 3. Similarly, you have to find for 15th December as well. So is the question clear first of all? Any doubt here? Is the question clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
this was the
Tanvir.
question actually. Okay. When I have seen the responses on LinkedIn, I realized like many of you understood the question that for the same customer ID, you are deriving the average and you're finding whether it is greater than that particular average or not. That doesn't make sense, right? That doesn't make any business sense. You're finding for the same customer. So, step number one, you have to find the total transaction amount for each and every customer. Now, let's prepare a strategy for it. The step number one will be derive the total transaction amount for each and every customer for a particular date. That's the step number one. That is what I have derived here. The total transaction amount for each and every customer for each and every day. Okay. So, because this is a practical scenario, a customer can do multiple transactions on a day. And it is also possible that the same customer, a customer ID 3 or any other customer ID, they can do some other transaction on the next day as well, right? So for that purpose, you have to first of all derive the total transaction amount for each and every customer for a particular date. That is the step number one. So first of all, let's try to do that. So solution one, I will try to show you two solutions for this. So select, you have to find the total uh, customer ID, comma, transaction date, because you have to find for each customer, for each and every transaction date, the total transaction amount. So I will keep it here, the transaction amount. I'll give this alias as, let's say, total amount. Your wish, you can give any alias. And this is from input table. And like we have to use group by here, right? So I will keep these columns in group by. Now I'm executing this query. So please verify here, is this data as per the strategy what we have defined here? This is the output I'm getting. First of all, is this clear? Please check. Now, are you getting the total transaction amount for each and every customer for a particular date? Customer ID 1, the total was 600. For 2, the total was 900. But for customer ID 3, the total is 1050. That is what we are getting here. Similarly, 4, 5, 6, we have a single transaction, right? So, but it is possible because of this scenario. I'm doing this group by and I'm taking this total sum. So this is a step one. Any questions so far? Okay, I think this is clear. Then in step two, what we have to do? In a step two, we have to derive the average for each and every day, right? What is the total average for 11th December and what is the total average for 15th December? So step number two will be derive average for each and every transaction date, or you can tell date wise. So for that, what I will do in this query, I will write here, select customer ID, comma, transaction date, and then I will keep transaction amount as well. Okay. And then I will derive the average transaction amount over. So you have to find the average for each and every date. So I will use partition by here, transaction date. And I will give this alias as average amount. You can give any other alias as per your convenience from input. Now let's try to understand. Maybe this might be new for a few of you, how this is getting executed. So this is the query. For this query, this is the output. Maybe we can round it off. I'm not rounding it. So this is the output. Let's try to understand how we're getting this. So I'm using that window function here. So, like in window function, first of all, this will be executed, partition by transaction date. So you can see like it will segregate the data based on the transaction date. So this will be the first segregation based on the 11th December. Then this will be the second segregation of data based on 15th December. Okay. That is a partition by transaction date. Then you have here average of transaction amount. It means you have to find average. So what engine will do for this particular transaction date 11th December, and for this value, it will derive the average, which is 637.5. That is what we have derived here for 11th December, right? Now, similarly, if you will check for this 12th, 15th December, the average is 1166.66. So that is what you're getting here. So this is also one of the reason why I have given this question. Okay, whether you know this or not, okay, we can use the aggregate function as well in this window function. Generally, in the window function, we know like we can use rank, dense rank, row number, lead, lag, and all those things, right? But you can also use aggregate function like sum, average, or any other aggregate function, right? So now here I'm getting like for each and every date, transaction date 11 December, this is average. Transaction date 15 December, this is average. Any questions so far? Hope this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Now, what I have to do, this is one set of data which in which we have derived the total amount for a particular customer ID and transaction date. This is another set of data where we are deriving the average amount for a particular date. And this is the key area which I want to test in this question, that how many participants know this, or this is the main critical part of this question. That's all. After this, nothing is there in this question. You just have to join this data set with this data set. Okay. Like suppose you have to check whether the customer ID one is a premium customer or not. The what you will do, you will pick this data and you will check that for this customer ID one, like when for this 11th December, what is the average amount? 637.5. So you have to check whether the 600 is greater than 637.5 or not. Similarly, for customer ID two, for this 11th December, you have to test whether this 900 is greater than this or not. If it is greater than this, you have to select it. It means you have to join this data set with this data set, and the joining condition will be the customer ID should be same, transaction date should be same, and the third condition will be this total amount should be greater than this average amount. That's all. So now what I will do, I will keep this in one CT with CT1 as, okay, and this will be CT2 as, okay. Now I will derive this A dot customer ID, comma A dot transaction date, or yes, comma A dot total amount, whatever columns you want, you can filter it out, and b dot avg amount from CT1A join CT2B. What will be the joining condition? A dot customer ID. I'm taking the CT1 as an alias A, CT2 as an alias B, equals to B dot customer ID, and A dot transaction date should be same as B dot transaction date, and A dot, what's the name of the column? Total amount should be greater than B dot average amount. Just execute this. So now you can see here, let's skip this first. So you can see on 11th December, 2 and 3. So their total amount is greater than average amount. Now you're getting two copies of this ID3 because, like we have two entries here. For ID3, if you will see, we have two entries, and like joins consider each and every record, right? So to remove the duplicate part, what you can do, you can write here distinct. So for 11th December, I did 2 and 3. Their total amount is greater than this average amount. So they are the premium customers on 11th December. On 15th December, ID 5 and 6, the total transaction amount, which is 1900 and 1200, which is greater than the average amount. So net, 11th December, 2 and 3 are the premium customers. 15th December, 5 and 6 are the premium customers. So while solving this question, so this was the important point. Okay, you know this concept or not? And then the simple inner join we are performing here. Okay. Now, do you have any questions so far? Or if you have any other thought, okay, then we can solve with the help of this concept as well. Is this clear? Okay.
Uh, just one question, Tanvir. Let's say if
Hmm.
interviewer asked you should not use distinct, in that case, what should be the approach here?
So if you don't have to use distinct, so what you can do here, you have this ID 1, 2, and you have ID 3, 3 here, right? Same values are there. And here as well, you have ID 3. Then this will become more complicated. What you can do, then for this, you have to use row number. Okay, here,
Okay.
partition by customer ID. And then in the joining condition, you have to join with the help of row number as well. Okay,
Okay.
you have to give
Okay.
the filter condition row number equals 1. Okay, it will become much more complicated. But yes, sometimes the interviewer can ask, okay, if the
Yes.
solution is complicated, not an issue, but still I want that solution. Okay, because they are testing you, right? So they're not what I can say bothered about how complicated the solution is. They want to check how flexible you are in other keywords as well. That's a good question, Akhil. So that you can solve, you can use a row number, partition by customer ID, row number, and then you have to filter where row number equals 1. Then it will pick one record from each customer ID.
Got you.
Answer the
Thank you.
question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Many other solutions are also there. You can also solve, but those will be a little bit complicated. Okay. Now we have one more solution for this. So solution two, what you can do, like here, I was just thinking when I derived this solution, I created this two CTs. In one CT, I'm deriving the sum. In the another CT, I'm deriving the average. So because of this only, I created two CTs. So I was thinking, okay, if the sum and this average, if I can derive in a single query, then there'll be no need to create two CTEs, right? And then obviously the performance will be enhanced. You understood my approach, my strategy?
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to do now. I will club both the summation part and the average part in a single query. Okay. So what I will do here is select customer ID. Customer spelling is right. Okay, customer ID, comma, transaction date, and then you have transaction amount, right? And then I will use this sum of transaction amount. See, this was the only reason why I posted this question. Okay, I want to check how many of you know this concept. Other than this, your question is simple only, right? We're performing inner join. We have created two cities. This is also very simple. Just a group by aggregate. And the one more thing was, are you able to understand the question clearly or not? Okay. And don't feel offended if you're asking to interviewer, okay, can you repeat this question or can you please explain this to me? Interviewer will be happy because that reflects if you're working in project and if the requirement is not clear. So there you will ask question to the client and client will be happy. Okay. If you are not understood the question clearly and you're making some assumption and you coded something different or you have analyzed some different data, so which can be very dangerous. So rather they appreciate if you're asking them question that if anything is not clear to you. Okay. So sum of transaction, this is transaction amount, right? Sum of transaction amount over partition by. So we have to derive sum for each and every customer ID. So that's why I'm using here partition by customer ID. But if you see here, I have derived the total transaction amount for each and every customer ID and transaction date combination because it is possible that a particular customer can purchase tomorrow as well, right? And the next day or any other day as well, right? So that is why here what I will do, I will use partition by customer ID, comma, transaction date. Now, see, this is a very good example to understand that you can use multiple columns in partition by as well. Generally, in partition by, we use only single column, but it's allowed. You can use any number of columns in partition by if that's a requirement. Hope this is clear. Now I will keep this as total amount areas, and then after this, I will derive the average one, which I have written here.
Can you just like explain that once again, the customer partition by?
This one.
Yeah.
Okay, I will come to that. I will explain it. Just let me write the complete query. I will explain this. From input. So let's do one thing. First of all, let's try to understand this query. Okay. Let me keep it here. This is the query. And this is the output. Let's try to understand how we're getting this out. So, like execution starts with from, right? So first of all, this from keyword will be executed in the order of execution, right? So first of all, from will be executed. So engine will take a copy of your input table. So this is the input table. I'm starting from scratch. Even if you have understood, I will request you just listen again. Maybe you will learn something new this time. So first of all, from input. So engine will take a copy of the input table. This is our input table, right? Then after from, you are left with two keywords, select and this window functions, right? So anyone can be executed once. Now, there's one more concept I want to cover here. It's allowed to use more than one window function in a query. If you're writing a select statement, in a single select statement, you can use multiple window functions. Like in a single select statement, I can derive rank, dense rank, row number, or any other window function that is allowed. Generally, this is a misconception. Okay, in a select statement, you can use any one window function, either use rank or use dense rank or use row number or any other sum or average. Nothing like that. It's allowed. You can use multiple window function in a single select statement. That's what I'm doing here. I'm using this window function for this aggregate function sum. Then I'm using this window function for the average, right? Now let's try to understand how this is getting executed. So let's start with the sum. Any window function, I've already covered this in my regular batch, and I know like you all are from my regular batches only. Any window function, the execution starts from here, right? So here you are telling to the SQL engine, create a partition based on customer ID and transaction date. So what engine will do for this set of data, it will first of all create a partition or it will segregate the data based on customer ID and transaction date. So this will be the one set of data, one customer ID and one transaction date. This will be the another segregation, customer ID and the transaction date. These two will be one segregation of data. You can tell this will be one partition. Similarly, this 4 and this transaction date 15 December, this will be one segregation of data. Then 5, customer ID 5 and customer ID 6. So that is the meaning of creating partition by customer ID and transaction date. So here you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segregations. If it is partition by customer ID only, like you see here, what we have done, partition by transaction date only. So here we have two segregations, so two partition. This is first partition for 11 December. This is another partition for 15 December. But here we are telling to create partitions based on the combination of customer ID and transaction date. So engine will check all the combinations. So customer ID 1 and 11 December is one combination. So this is one partition. Customer ID 2 and 11 December is a separate combination. So this is a separate partition. Clear? Is this partition by customer ID and transaction date? Is this clear or not? Please confirm me here. Then I will proceed
Yeah.
further.
Yes, sir.
This is clear, right? Okay. So that's what I want to prove here, or I want to make it clear. In a partition by, you can use any number of columns. There is no restriction. In a partition by, you can use only one column. Generally, it happens in partition by we use only one column. But if the requirement is to use multiple columns, you can use multiple columns in partition by, similar to order by and group by. In order by, there is no restriction on the number of columns, right? You can use any number of columns in order by. Similarly, in group by, there's no restriction. You can use any number of columns in group by as per the business requirement. Now then, this sum of transaction amount will be executed. So here you are telling to the SQL engine, okay, I want sum of transaction amount column for each and every partition which has been created with the help of these two combinations. So this is one combination. So here, what will be the sum? That is what we are showing you here. Here the sum is 600, because for this you have only one record, 600. So that's what you're getting, 600 here. Is this clear? But if you will check for this is 1050. Why? Okay, this is another partition. Let me change the color. So for this 3 and 11 December, this is another partition. So you are telling, I want the sum of transaction amount for this partition. So 500 plus 550, that's why it is coming as 1050. And this is what you want, right? If you see here, what you have derived, the total amount for each and every customer ID and transaction date, that is what we can derive with the help of partition by as well, or with the help of window function. Is this point clear? So far, this is clear to everyone? Can you please confirm me, guys?
Yes.
Any question
Yes,
here?
sir.
Okay.
Confirm.
Now, generally, there's again one interview question. What is the difference between group by and partition by? See, when I'm using group by here to derive the total amount, the sum of transaction amount. So for this 3 and 11 December, you are getting just one data, or you're just getting one record, that is 1050, which is correct. But for this 3 customer ID and this transaction date 11 December, you're getting only one record. But in partition by, check here, you are getting two records, and it is showing each and every transaction. So that is the difference between partition by and group by. Partition by has a higher responsibility as compared to group by. Partition by has to show each and every transaction as well, apart from showing the total transaction amount. So this is showing the total transaction amount 1050, but at the same time it is showing each and every individual transaction as well. But your group by is just showing the collective data 1050. Now here, if your client will ask, Tanvi, can you tell me this customer ID 3, how many individual transactions he has done on 11th December? Do you think that information is available here? That's not available, right? So that is the
No.
difference between group by and partition by. Partition by will show you the collective data, and apart from that, it will show you each and every individual transactions as well. So this is far better if you're doing analysis, right? I'm not telling you group by is not better. Group by has a separate use case. Partition by has a separate use case. But this is the difference between partition by and group by. And this is very commonly asked interview question these days. Hope this is clear. You understood how this sum is getting derived?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, coming to this average. Again, this is one of the window functions. So first of all, partition by transaction date. Now, in this case, what will happen? Angel will create partitions based on the transaction date. So based on the transaction date, can you tell me how many partitions will be getting here?
2 partitions.
Only 2 partitions because we have only 2 dates, 11th December and 15th December. So it will create one partition for this 11th December and another partition for this 15th December. Now for this partition, okay, fine, engine has created a partition. But for this partition, now what you want to do? You want to derive average for this. So then engine will derive average. So the average for this is 637.5 and for this average is 1166.667. So that is why we derive both the window functions in the same SQL query. Is this clear now? If it is clear, okay. So now then what you can do? You can just directly write, select all these columns, whatever you want. You put these values here. Or you just want customer data and the transaction date, no, you keep it here. And then you have to write from CT1, where? What you have to put in the where condition here? Can you answer this? What should we keep in the where condition?
Total amount greater than average amount.
Very good. Total amount greater than
Average
average.
amount.
That's all. Now check the output. Are you getting the same output or not? You're getting duplicate here, so you can use distinct keyword here.
Sir, can we use group by here?
Group by as well you can use. You can write at the last group by customer ID, comma, transaction date. That also you can use.
Okay.
So solution 2 is also clear. Now, see, whenever you're solving any question, don't be under the impression that anyhow I have to reach another solution. You should think, okay, like when I have written the solution 1, I was thinking here, okay, oh, I have used 2 CTs, so I'm giving an additional burden to the SQL engine, and in return it will impact the performance. So I was thinking how I can merge this 2 CT in a single CT. So in solution 2, that's what I have done. I merged 2 CTs in a single CT, and now I think you can easily answer which solution is better from performance perspective. Solution 2, right? We have reduced the number of CTs and we are not using any joins here, right? We skip the join part as well. The solution 2 is much better than solution 1 as far as the performance is concerned. Hope this is clear to everyone. Do you have any questions? So I'm done with the solution of this. And do you have any question, anyone, so far?
No, sir.
Okay, no questions. So fine then. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending. We will upload the recording and share with you. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanvi.
Thank you, everyone.